caught with the Edijester. I'm so full of cold and sore throat and aches and pains. But I've got me peeps today, going to be teaching me warrior teachers, so I'm very pleased about that. But before I do, here's something to just bring you up to speed. Yesterday, I put up a video about the grooming gangs and about the situation on the whole. And we've got a very interesting piece here today in the Telegraph. This week, it begins. The richest man in the world repeatedly attacked the Prime Minister after finding out about the scale of historic group sexual abuse in Britain. But Elon Musk's interest in the grooming gang scandal, characteristically frenetic as it is, shouldn't be immediately dismissed. It has been known for years that networks of men, largely of Pakistani background, gang raped predominantly white girls, while the authorities failed to tackle the issue or looked the other way out of political correctness. And there's the words. Out of political correctness. Wokery is at the heart of this. Wokery is at the heart of this. Hashtag be kind. Wokery is at the heart of it all. And that's where the investigation needs to be. This is the result of a failure to protect fairness, justice, meritocracy, equality under the law, equality of opportunity, and everything else, the Enlightenment, everything else that got us where we are, a failure to protect that from academia, the powers that be, the elites, the arts institutions, the science institutions, every big business that has grasped this by its hairy gobblers and run with it, all of them are guilty. All of them are guilty of being involved in a belief system that led to the rape of girls. It's that simple. Because without all that crap and this intersectionality and all the nonsense that's come with it, none of this would have happened. It wouldn't have happened. Right? That's what I think. Because people would have acted. People would have gone, right, let's stop it. Now, people have said to me, yeah, but that stuff wasn't around before then, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's been around since the 80s. Right? It's been around since the 80s. So people that were learning about this stuff and getting to grips with it have been leaving the universities and going into public sector since the 80s. But you're right. People would still have raped. Except the difference is if we'd had old school policing that wasn't concerned about DEI and EDI and ethnicity and sexuality and gender, they would have done a better job. Sorry, it's just what I think. You know, it doesn't matter whether I'm right or not. Who cares whether I'm right or not? But it's just what I think. Okay? So that's how this begins. And it's an article worth reading. Because what it's calling, I'm not going to read all of this because we've been through this. We talked about this yesterday. It criticises the independent inquiries that looked in the wrong direction. And it essentially says with all these inquiries, nothing's happened. Nothing's happened at all. And then it says, we must recognise that these cases are a result of ill-considered immigration policy. When people come here, they bring the good and the bad of their home with them, in what the economist Garrett Jones calls a cultural transplant. This is a wake-up call to think carefully about future immigrants to ensure they come from cultures compatible with British values, and that when they get here, they uphold them. Too much immigration allows the creation of enclaves that sustain the culture of the home country and prevent assimilation. That's how you end up with places like Blackburn, where some Asian school children think that Britain is 50 to 90% Asian. It might seem unfair, but this means restricting family immigration, as marrying people from the home country, many of whom are close relatives, maintains this insularity. It should become the norm that grooming gang members can be deported under already existing visa penalty powers in the 2022 Nationality and Borders Act. The government can force countries like Pakistan to take back their criminal citizens by taxing remittances, which from Britain alone make up around 1% of Pakistan's GDP, and blocking the issuing of visas to their nationals or to government officials who want to travel here. If human rights law frustrates this, then a deportation bill with as many ouster clauses as necessary ought to do the job. Should the European Convention on Human Rights and Human Rights Act still prevent it? And that only further demonstrates their pro-criminal nature and the pressing need to get rid of them. Instead of being outraged by Elon Musk's colourful comments, Britain's elite should reflect on how they allowed the grooming gang scandal to happen and how they failed to end it. We can't afford to trust the process and just have another inquiry. We need action. I absolutely agree. This article is actually a really good one. I agree with a lot of what's being said there in this regard, and I think it's a conversation that we need to be having. I still think there needs to be an inquiry needs to go in which it says we are coming for woke, we are coming for critical social justice, we are coming for EDI, we're coming for anti-racism, we're coming for gender ideology, we're coming for queer theory, we're coming for extreme environmentalism. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. Is we need to have a separate one that goes, right, okay, because all of that led to the cultural and moral relativism that caused the inaction that allowed children to be raped. Girls, young women and girls, to be raped in our home country. On the back of #BeKind, a morbid, moribund belief system. And I knew this was all linked years ago, and everybody thought I was bloody mad. There's no such thing as the omnicourse, Barry. Yes, there is. And if you can't see it by now, then you're not paying attention. The left and the liberals must learn from the mistakes they have made in the past, which are now manifesting in the public square, and they must openly admit that they got it wrong, which so many have already done when I've spoken to them. It's okay to get it wrong. The gay movement got it wrong. Feminists got it wrong, right? Men have got it wrong. Everybody's got it bloody wrong. It's okay to admit that so that we can go, right, what do we think is the root cause of this? Is a lack of meritocracy, a lack of enlightenment values, a lack of intelligence, a lack of talent, a lack of sticking to colourblind race policies, of not pandering to men and women who think they're something they're not. That's what we need. We need to get back to brass tacks, back to reality, because the utopian view of the left and the liberals is what caused this. The utopianism at the heart of their belief systems. And when frustrated in their utopianism, they'll brand us all ill and in need of therapy and help from the state. You mark my words. And when they get a digital ID, and when they start asking you, sign in here, face recognition, once they've got that and they can work out what it is that you're doing, they can nudge you to make sure you don't do it. And if you don't think that's going to be used for bad, you've got another thing coming. Most important thing this year, get it out of the school curriculum. We've got to get that done, and everywhere else. And then we've got to prevent any kind of digital ID, and we've got to roll back massively on the amount of information that the state and companies are allowed to keep about us. But that's just me. That's because I'm tetchy and miserable because I've got a cold. So please come and be a warrior teacher, or join my Substack, or buy me a coffee. Other than that, just go away, all of you. I've had enough. I don't want to see anybody. I'm not very well. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.